What's up, y'all? I go by the name of Southside Tre, and I just want to welcome you to the new series, This is America. And basically, we just gonna start a conversation. It's a lot going on. The election in 3 days. Today is Halloween, and it's kind of ironic because America's still pretending like it's one nation with liberty and justice for all. Last year in June, I was watching as they gathered the presidential candidates for the first time. And it's interesting because it was at least 15 to 20 candidates. And we get to see everybody that's in the running to potentially become the next president. And with that being said, out of all the people that I watched, and when I made my decision even then of who I thought could, maybe be somebody I could get on board with, I saw this woman who gave the best speech. And not only just the best speech, but talking about things that actually affect me and things that's going on that I could relate to. And this woman was Kamala Harris. And so when I saw that last June, I kind of felt hopeful moving forward that maybe we might have some people that's actually talking about the issues that affect black communities and black households, not just a certain portion of the world. And fast forward, it's crazy because obviously as the election is 3 days away, I just think back to all the people that made it a point to tell you and others that voting was so important that our ancestors even died for us to have the right to do so, which is understandable. But when you say that, are you just saying just pick any person that they throw in front of you when it's the last two people left? Or do we actually sit back a year and a half before and sort out all of the candidates because we have multiple choices to choose from? So I'm just confused because Joe Biden announced that Kamala Harris would be his running mate, for vice president. And with this news, people just seem to be excited, get on social media and rant and rave and celebrate this historic pick. And it was just a lot of people, celebrities, entertainers. All of these people took to social media and praised Kamala Harris for this and spoke about how historic this moment was. And again, that's why I come back to being confused and dumbfounded, because this is the same woman that ran to be the president of the United States. So why is she heaping all this praise for being the backup president, and to a white man, no less? This is what I don't get. Why wouldn't this woman be in this final running to potentially become the president? Why is she playing second fiddle to Joe Biden? Because the last time I checked, Joe Biden had an opportunity to run in 2016 when Donald Trump first took the office. And so to these same people that want to explain to others how vital voting is, if it was such a threat of this country falling apart in 2016, then why wouldn't this man run for president then? Why did he need to have to take a few years to think about it or get ready? People saying that it's so important to make sure you get in there and vote, and just how vital that decision is. But it's not just as vital for that person who's thinking about being president to get in the running. That's a big deal to me. Why the would you take time off if the world is on the brinks of collapsing? Why would we let Donald Trump even make it in the office?
But if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
But he's want to come 4 years later, and now we supposed to get on board and be excited for this. For me, it's a deeper thing, and it just stems back decades, a century. Everything that government stands for, Constitution included, none of it included black people. None of it spoke about including us in equal basic rights. This is why, even to this day in 2020, it's just okay for a white officer to just kill a black man.
Now give me the mayor. Give me the mayor. Give me the mayor. On my mama blood, they flipping over in her grave. I mean that. Flip, get the fuck up. Give me that gun.
Are you on 5?
Give me that gun. Give me that gun, not me. All right. Take this shit off my gun, not me.
You're gonna stay down.
All right. Take this shit off my face.
No, I got him. I'm already in it.
Drag me, kill me. And Jesus came out of me.
That's
My
what you're gonna
mama flipping over in her grave, man. No good. I mean it. Get that shit out of my face, man. Oh, shit. I got shit.
Stop. Calm down. Stop. Calm down. Calm down, okay?
Get that feet out, man. Get that fool.
They not even trying to hide it. And it just seemed like our track record when it comes to voting or president or whatever elected official it is, we don't have a good track record. We have a losing record. And for some time, we were seeing the same people in rotation. So how in the is this important? Yeah, on the grand scheme of things, is necessary and it's important. But in America, and this is America, does not mean nothing. This is conditioned for one race of people. We already know the history of black people in America. And we keep trying to like go forward and act like it was any closure to the hardships and that black people went through at the hands of these white supremacists and just white America at that point. We're still acting like everything was fixed. Because my question is, when were people back then ever prosecuted? When was there ever real justice? Right now, we are waiting people to get convicted in Minnesota and other places. And right now in Illinois and Waukegan, you know, another incident where a black kid is being killed by a cop. But yet you have white supremacists and a group of white men in Texas right now harassing a campaign bus to the point where they have to cancel a Joe Biden presidential event.
Supporters of President Donald Trump allegedly harassed a Joe Biden-Kamala Harris bus as it traveled through central Texas yesterday. Now, videos and photos posted on social media show a long line of vehicles flying Trump flags trailing the Biden-Harris bus as it traveled from San Antonio to Austin on I-35. In some of those images, the bus appears to be boxed in by the vehicles. Some members of the Texas Democrats campaign say the car of Biden-Harris staffer there was hit during the incident. As a result of the incident, campaign events in Austin and Pflugerville were canceled. Austin police tweeted out this afternoon that they are not working on this investigation and that another department might be investigating.
I mean, what the is this, man? I've been sick of this and I'm still sick of this. A few months ago, I watched people all over the world riot and protest and basically tear this place up because of what we saw, another black man being killed like it was nothing, like it was just routine. But the thing is, it is just routine. We can name countless events. We could go back to even Sean Bell. We sat there and we were outraged, and rightfully so, about what we saw with George Floyd, but yet this been happening. Sean Bell was at a wedding, and he gets shots up like as if he's a terrorists. But meanwhile, in present day right now, we have real terrorists, white terrorists. And that's getting back to my point. When are these people being charged as such? Where are the repercussions and the consequences for these terrorist acts that's been committed for centuries? You know, now in 2020, we even hearing more about Black Wall Street in Oklahoma in the 1920s that was bombed by a white mob. It's almost like America's programmed us to just accept it and move on. Because my question to that is, who were the people that were responsible for this bombing? Who are the people that got arrested, got prosecuted? What are their names? We're so programmed by stupid that we see on TV or what we hear or some that entertainers and celebrities are talking about, when we need to open our eyes and realize what's really happening in front of us. No wonder they won't convict these cops and they won't hold them accountable. But that's because, again, this is American. This is America. It's all built and created for one group of people. And that's it. We don't have to keep getting deep into politics and all of this other shit that America likes to throw our way to sound sophisticated. You know what I'm saying? Right is right and wrong is wrong. And we've been seeing America do wrong from day one. We're living by a system and laws that were basically created by criminals. People that came and stole this land and called it America. But then on the flip side of that, they have a nerve to tell what people can and can't live here and label them as illegal immigrants. And then now put together a task force to separate these people from their families and put kids in these camps and tents.
These children are in a detention camp, held against their will, first in giant cages in this warehouse on the Texas border with Mexico. Tin foils for comfort blankets. Eventually separated from their parents. Under President Trump's new zero-tolerance policy, their parents are now being prosecuted for crossing illegally into the US. This means the children and minors need to be detained separately.
And they normalizing it to the point where we just living our everyday life like this shit not really happening. All the shit that we seen black people go through, they're normalizing doing the same type of things to the Hispanic community.
The United States will not be a migrant camp, and it will not be a refugee holding facility. Won't be. You look at what's happening in Europe, you look at what's happening in other places, we can't allow that to happen to the United States, not on my watch. They could be murderers and thieves and so much else. So we want a safe country, and it starts with the borders, and that's the way it is.
It was never their country in the first place, so how can they dictate who can come and go? This is just some of the saddest. They're deporting people and putting people in these camps, and some of these people have been living in this country for decades and have been a productive member of society, owning their own business. This shit just don't make sense, and we living through it right now, and we act like this shit not going on, but we worrying about which one of these clowns we about to put in power. Neither one of the presidential candidates could care less whether people live or die. And that's the type of thing that we are clamoring and signing up to do, is vote for one of these people. The thing that's even more frustrating and infuriating about that is footage of Obama having a State of the Union speech and addressing this very threat, word for word, as if they already had some type of inclination that it could happen. And they act like they had some type of inclination that it was gonna happen. And he's giving them notes and he's addressing the whole free world.
There may and likely will come a time in which we have both an airborne disease that is deadly. And in order for us to deal with that effectively, we have to put in place an infrastructure, not just here at home, but globally, that allows us to see it quickly, isolate it quickly, respond to it quickly. So that if and when a new strain of flu, like the Spanish flu, crops up 5 years from now or a decade from now, we've made the investment. And we're further along to be able to catch it. It's not just insurance, it is knowing that down the road we're going to continue to have problems like this, particularly in a globalized world, where you move from one side of the world to the other in a day. Shut things down, work together, and get the job done. I cannot think of a better example of an area where we should all agree than passing this emergency funding to fight Ebola and to set up some of the public health infrastructure that we need to deal with potential outbreaks in the future. There's a basic common sense issue that all Americans can agree on. So let's get it done. This can't get caught up in normal politics. How do you argue with that?
So I don't want to hear people even trying to make excuses for these people. Like, this is a shame. And I'm sick of this. This is a joke. It really is. All of the things that we've been going through in this country for decades and centuries, and we still got to deal with dumb like this. Barack Obama addressed the country and spoke on the potential threat of a airborne virus. But yet you got little kids up in this White House acting as if they had no type of warning or no type of preparation for anything like this.
January 23rd, I was told that there could be a virus coming in. They said it very matter-of-factly. It was not a big deal.
The same that's in charge told America that as long as the deaths go to 100,000, that he feel like that's a good number.
The minimum number was 100,000 lives, and I think we'll be substantially under that number. Hard to believe that if you had 60,000, you can never be happy, but that's a lot fewer than we were originally told and thinking. So they said between 100 and 220,000 lives on the minimum side, and then up to 2.2 million lives if we didn't do anything. We closed the border to China, meaning we put on the ban, people coming in from China. That was a very big moment. As Dr. Fauci said, we saved thousands and thousands of lives when we did that. And that's true, but I think we would have had anywhere from 10 to 20 or 25 times the number of deaths if we didn't act the way we did, and also if we didn't act swiftly. So we're very proud of our team and our task force, and Mike, great job.
That go to show you the type of people that we dealing with. Because like I said, they don't give a about people living or dying. And even with his own stupid expectations, he still failed. Because we way past 100,000 at this point, and it's not showing a sign of slowing down. It's surging all over again. I don't know everything, but I feel like I know enough. And I feel like common sense is a big part of anything. And common sense would have said to shut the country down. Why are we risking everything just to take little trips and vacations? It's going to be a time and a place for everything. But we willing to risk the future just to do a few minute things. That's not even going to mean in the grand scheme of things. We living in a country that loves to pretend not only that they one nation with liberty and justice for all, but they also like to pretend as if they know everything and they have an answer for every issue, when clearly that's not the case. We'll sit back and get lied to on a daily basis. We'll watch the news and hear these so-called experts and scientists and politicians talk about a possible vaccine, trying to talk as if like we're getting back to normal within 3, 4, 5 months and everything could be back within a year. They'll just say anything to program people and manipulate them to their liking. Because let's just be honest, it might be a chance that we never go back to being in large crowds and, you know, jam-packed arenas for concerts and sporting events. This might not happen again. Because obviously, if we still don't have all of the information we need to curb this virus right now, and it's an airborne virus, it's a possibility we might not ever go back to normal. It's a possibility we will always need a mask. And that's something that people they might as well just get ready for. We can't sit back and wait for the government or some on the news to give us some false information. We got to just start thinking and using common sense. It's viruses and diseases that's been around for decades, and some of them still have nothing close to a cure or a vaccine. But they trying to tell us that this deadly outbreak that then thrown the whole world off its axis within less than a year, that we have a vaccine to cure this soon. That's all just being hopeful. Us in the black community, we have to understand that we're not getting no incoming help. We're not gonna get no assistance from the other side. It'll always be spoon-fed. It'll always be teaspoons. They're not ever gonna put us in a position to be equal in their minds. We gotta just ask ourselves one simple question from everything we seeing going on and how the black community is treated in America. It's a very difficult question to ask, but let's ask it. Why does white America even have to treat us fairly? Like, what'll be in it for them? America is already geared up for that group of people. It's built for them to prosper. These laws and these amendments and Constitution, it was built for one race of people. It was never built for us. So we would be foolish to think that even in voting in a president, that somehow we're going to be in good hands. All he's going to do is just placate to the people that's important, quote unquote. The people with the money, the people that hold these high seats in Congress and the Senate. It's not just even about the president. We got a lot of work to do when we talking about just voting to pick a president. All of those seats have to have somebody with high character in them. All of those seats have to have somebody with high integrity. It's a whole Senate, a whole House of Representatives, elected officials in each state. So with those things being said, one thing about this series or any type of project that I put out, I don't want to just be the person to just talk about the problems. You know, I feel like it's enough people doing that already. There's plenty of other podcasts. There's plenty of other shows where people just talk and bring up problems anyway. I want to be able to bring something to the table that highlights solutions as well and bring some type of fix to the things that's happening, whether short term or long term. And some of these things that I'm going to suggest, of course, is going to be long term. This didn't just happen overnight. The type of condition that America is in, the condition of the black community. So the fix not going to be easy, and it's not going to be overnight as well. This voting is weak to me, not only because of the people that we vote for, but just the idea that we put the power in one person's hand. It doesn't make sense to me, because what the fuck are we going to do after we cast that vote to enforce it? And that almost makes me wonder, what the fuck do we even want? Like, ask yourself or tell me, what do you even want? Do you just want that you hear on TV, that you hear them talk about on the news or at the debates, whether it's a tax hike or whatever the case? Like, is this the only that we basing our vote on? Because I need to see a lot of laws in effect. I need to see a lot of things change. The fact that we even have taxes to this degree is crazy even in itself. Because again, we living by a system that was created essentially by criminals, by people that stole land and instilled their virtues and implemented their own systems. This is all that was put together by those same criminals. Why are we living their way of life? We're paying taxes to some that don't benefit us at all. Last time I checked, taxpaying dollars go to the police department. It go to public schools. And both of those systems are broken and flawed and been that way for some years now. So the things that we essentially and supposedly paying this money for, this is broke and it's not working. Where is the money going if none of these things are functioning properly? We're paying money for our kids to go to a school to teach them some history that has nothing to do with them. A history that was created in spite of them. We spending money to be harassed by police in our own communities, in places we live. We're paying money for that. Think about how crazy that sounds. It's not just a police reform or education reform. The whole world needs a reform. It's time to take a second look at everything. The Constitution, the laws, whatever. All of this needs to be proofread and needs to be updated. Just a president, all of this has to be looked at. The way that we pick the president, the way that we pick Congress and the Senate. Are we just going to keep having the same officials that had these titles? Because that means they've been a part of the problem. So why in the fuck would they still be in offices? Why would they still have these high-ranking jobs? It's time to clean house. Obviously, the police system don't know what the fuck they doing. I'm a black man from the Southside of Chicago, and it's one of the most controversial cities in America. But the fact that nothing's been done to clean it up, in my opinion, speaks volumes. We can sit here and say that it's a lot of crime going on here, but obviously it's a lot of incompetent police enforcement going on as well. Because every year we hear the same stupid, staggering numbers of hundreds of people being shot, a certain number of people dying, hospitals being filled every weekend. What are the taxpayers' dollars going to if the police not doing their job? We sat there and witnessed it firsthand during the riots. Those cops sat there and watched us destroy our own neighborhoods. And yeah, we at fault for doing that, dumb. But the fact that they're letting it be done is just egregious to me, because they wouldn't let you go up north. They were blocking off roads to the suburbs. They was protecting downtown. You couldn't just do what the you wanted to do. We acted a fool and tore up our shit and they let us. And then now we still back to square one. It's still record numbers of black people being killed by the police, even after George Floyd. All that looting and rioting and all of that protesting, and them people ain't heard y'all was saying. We can't get a president in office that could just stop this and put laws in effect that protect all human beings. It don't matter what your job description is. It shouldn't be that police officers be protected when they killing people. They know what they doing. I don't want to hear about police being put in these situations where they're fearing for their life. That's the job. What did you sign up for? I'm tired of hearing this. If you can't handle patrolling these streets in a professional way, then don't do the job. Take the badge off and get the out of here. I'm getting off track a little bit. When it comes time to pick presidents, we got to start raising our own kids to be the future. We got to start conditioning ourselves to be leaders. And it's really just that simple. We can't depend on a mysterious or an anonymous person to come out the blue and be the perfect representative to put black people in a good position or to put black people on equal ground. We have to start raising our kids to be the ones that's the elected officials, to be the mayors, the aldermen. We got to raise our kids to be the next president. This needs to be a real lesson in discipline that's taught in the black household. We the only ones that's going to be able to change this. We don't have no help coming from the outside world. In the black community, we have to start teaching and raising our kids to do what needs to be done. And in order for that to happen, we have to do what needs to be done. We got to raise our game up, and we got to change our way of thinking. We can't rely on America to get us out of this jam. It's not going to happen. It hasn't happened, and it won't happen. Newsflash. That means we got to educate ourselves more. That means now we got to be more disciplined. We got to be more focused. Those kids just ain't going to learn how to do this on their own. We got to hold ourselves accountable. That way, when we vote, we can vote for people that we know are warriors for us. That those people that we instill values in. This is the only way. And when we come to police, we need to reevaluate how they picking cops. How are you picking people to be the police? You know, are these people that's just coming to get a paycheck? People that didn't have no other course of action in life? didn't go to school, whatever? Are these people that just want to have some authority because they wasn't when they was kids? Last year, it were multiple reports of high-ranking cops committing suicide.
The high-ranking Chicago or fired police officer went to work last night, and then death by suicide is what we're hearing. But his body wasn't discovered until this morning when his secretary came in and found him, and that led to the huge response by the fire department as well as the police department.
We got to start putting a microscope to the and really paying attention. These are people that's lieutenants and sergeants, and for whatever reason, they taking their own life in the parking lot of the precinct. Like, what the is really going on with the psyche of police? What is happening? Where these cops that, you know, got all these badges and decorations on their shirt, what type of training and teaching are they really doing? Because what type of strategies have they created to curb any of the violence in Chicago? It's the same all of the time and every year. So obviously, y'all don't even know how to put together a plan to get this right. And then you hear from stupid people that want to say things like, why is such distrust in the black community amongst police? And that's because, well, at least in my opinion, I hate the fact that I'm seeing white people be police officers that won't live in these neighborhoods, that won't live on these blocks, but yet they want to come around on their high horse with that uniform on and with that badge on, and they want to have authority. But when they not on the clock, you don't see those people around here. That's a major part of my problem. Who the are these people that y'all sending into these black neighborhoods to keep order? If you're going to do that, common sense tells me you have to have some type of knowledge of the culture that you're dealing with, because that's the biggest reason why a lot of this is going on. Cops are coming into our neighborhoods and already looking at us as criminals. They already looking at us as suspects. This is why they fearful when they stopping a black man for some that happened to me plenty of times. You being pulled over and you see one of these scary cops already putting his hand on his pistol. What the are you so afraid of? You know, if that's the case, then why the are y'all cops? Because see, that's dangerous for everybody. You scared, you got every weapon and tool at your disposal, but yet you fearful just because you see a person that look like me. These people have to go. That mind frame has to go. If they don't look at us as equals, how can they enforce the law correctly? I don't want to hear about no speeches from these presidents or, you know, some promises that they trying to give us. We way beyond promises. We way beyond plans. Y'all need to just be doing this. It need to be no talking when it comes to these politicians. What is there to talk about? It's nothing to debate. Y'all haven't fixed and y'all don't plan on fixing. Y'all just plan on carrying on in y'all America like y'all been doing. Keeping up, stealing from other countries, staying on top, doing all type of devious. So I'm gonna just leave it at that, man. Let's get our together. We need to be more knowledgeable. We gotta understand how to take control of our own destinies in our own communities. I'm not voting for these people that's making it seem like it's so hard to impose laws, to stop brutality, to stop this injustice with the police and the black community, or just any sort of racism. We got people still associating with KKK. You still got white terrorists doing whatever they want to do.
No, constitutionally, what's the issue?
He just happens to be hanging
So
out.
what about shall not be infringed? You will not understand.
We're only talking about the state laws here.
I don't give a damn about your state law.
Okay.
It's Constitution, man.
All right. That's fine. That's fine. Hey, if that's how you feel.
You swore no to the Constitution. Are you going to uphold it?
That's how you feel. All
That
right?
is how I feel.
All right. No problem at all.
Not just
All
me.
right.
Millions of us.
Okay.
We have options. We could be very unpeaceful right now, but we're still choosing to be peaceful.
Marching with their assault rifles. as if they some type of army or they upholding some type of peace. We seen a fucking kid walking around with his assault rifle and kill people, a white kid. And then you have people in this world trying to justify that.
Are we really surprised that looting and arson accelerated to murder? How shocked are we that 17-year-olds with rifles decided they had to maintain order when no one else would?
On broadcast TV, I feel like it's never been a president that truly cared. It's never been a president that just shut this down. And until it is a president that does that, all of these people, and nobody getting my vote. But with that being said, man, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. Most importantly, make sure you come back and check me out again. This is America.